What's up, world? It's yours truly, DJ PM, aka Mr. Let Me Be Great, and this is another episode of Long Story Short. But before we get into today's episode, I need you to like, subscribe, share, and at the end of the video, make sure you comment. Long story short, let's get into it. All right, so, when was this? I can't remember the exact dates. I don't really like to give dates anyway because it'd be self-incriminating. But anyway, so I was out of town. I was in, we'll say DC. I was in DC, right? I went up there for a little small event or whatever. And a friend of mine was up there and he had some happy treats, if you would. And so he was telling me about how he took some and I gave him, a floating, real dope, like, you know what I'm saying, just an out-of-body experience or whatever. He was like, he only took a little bit. And so I was like, okay, cool. Bring me one tomorrow. Me and the person that I got with me, the girl I got with me, we're going to go half and half on one, right? And he was like, nah, man, I wouldn't recommend that because I only had a little piece and I was floating. And I was like, man, ain't nobody scared of no little, you know what I'm saying, whatever. We going to do it. So it was an edible, by the way.
Duh.
So he brought it, fast forward the next day, he brought it to us or whatever. The event was over. Well, it was about halfway over. And he was just like, here you go, bro. Y'all said y'all going to do half and half. Here you go. So I gave it to the girl that was with me first, and she took a bite out of it. It was like this, it was almost like a Laffy Taffy, but I mean, stronger. So she took a bite out of it. She bit about half of it, and then she was like, "Is this how much you took?" But you gotta remember, she had like taffy in her mouth, so it was like, it was. She looked dumb as hell, but it was funny as hell. And the dude was like, nah, I didn't take that much. Now, let me rewind and tell you about this young lady. First of all, she is tiny, okay? She's about 5'3", maybe 125 pounds. And my other homeboy is like 6'3", 290, 310, like a big guy. And so she took more than he took, and he was just like, man, I wouldn't have did that if I was you, but it was too late at that point. And so then I took the other half of it or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? Some time go by, the event ends, and she's never, let me rewind and remind you that she's never done an edible before. And so some time goes by, and so I'm at the bar or whatever, and I'm having a drink, and I'm talking to my friends, and she comes up to me and she says, PM. That's not what she said, but for this story's sake, she said PM. I was like, yeah, what's up? I need to go. And I was like, what? And she was like, I need to go right now. And I was like, the bathroom is right there in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the bathroom. Nobody's stopping you. And she was like, no, I need to go to the room right now. And I was like, okay, we'll go. Just give me a second. I'm talking to my partner with them. And she was like, no, you don't understand. I need to go right now. And I was like, go to the room, like nothing is stopping you, go. And she was like, no. She starts freaking out. She's like, no, you gotta take me to the room. I can't go by myself. And starts bawling, like crying real tears. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? So I'm like, all right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna say bye to my family. So I tell my family, keep in mind, my parents are at this event. So I tell my family, I'm like, yo, she doesn't feel well. I'm going to take her upstairs or whatever, and I'm going to come right back. So they're all like, okay, feel better or whatever. But I'm trying to like shield her so they can't see that she's crying. So we go up to the room or whatever. We get her in the room, you know what I'm saying? I put her in the bed, and I'm like, I'll be right back. Starts crying immediately again. No, don't leave me. Please don't leave me in here by myself. And I'm like, what are you afraid of? And she's like, I just don't want to be alone right now. So I'm like, all right, I left my phone downstairs. I have to go get my phone. She's like, okay, hurry up and come back. So I go downstairs, and my whole family is just like, yo, is she okay? Is she good? And I'm like, man, she's fine. And I tell like my, not my mom and dad, but my other people, I'm like, yeah, she took an edible. So she's just on a trip right now. And they're like, oh, and they laughed, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's edible. Like, who cares? So we went back upstairs. So I go back upstairs or whatever. And she's like tripping. Like, she literally would go from like, we was watching, I can't remember what we was watching, but she would go from like hysterically laughing to like something happened and she would just start crying like That. Like, we could be talking about jelly beans and she'd be eating red jelly beans and she'd be happy as I don't know what. La 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 la. Red jelly beans. And then she would see a black one and just be like, who put a black jelly bean in my bag? And start crying. And I would be sitting over there looking like, really? Really? You crying about a black jelly bean? So anyway, that happened. Fast forward a little bit. My sisters end up coming to my room because we were supposed to go somewhere, and they didn't want to go back to their room. So they was like, we just going to come in your room and chill. Here's what the mistake about that was. I didn't know that they were going to come up there and bother her the way they did. Man, because she was already tripping. They literally came in the room and just was like, boo. And she would die laughing. Cracking up. And I'm sitting in the bed like this. Nothing is funny. Nothing is funny. And she is dying. Then she was doing like this with laugh. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, but like when people do this laugh where they're laughing so hard that no sound comes out their mouth. So all you see is for like 30 seconds. That shit is so annoying, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That shit is so annoying. And so, man, that happened. This shit went on for about 2.5 hours, man. She was just tripping. Here's the worst part. She was tripping so hard, I couldn't even enjoy my high. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was horrible. So, fast forward. She falls asleep. I fall asleep. While my sisters are in the room, mind you. So we're just asleep. They wake us up and they're like, oh, we're about to go here. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get up and get dressed. I get up and get dressed. My friend is no longer high. But as soon as I get out of the bed, it hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, if you've seen the episode of ISO Boom where I was like, the room started floating, literally. The room started floating all around me. I couldn't get dressed. She had to help me put my shoes on. We walked to this place. I can't remember the name of it, but we walked to this place to eat or whatever. I didn't eat anything. I literally sat over there with my lip this big, looking like Bubba from Forrest Gump. And I waste water all over my sister, trying to reach for it. That's how high I was. So, long story short, don't do drugs, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment. Long story short, we got a new episode every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in. It's yours truly, DJ PM. I'm out.